It couldn't possibly be because he's the only registered offender in the video here. That would be silly, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it also be silly if they all nicknamed him the state at which he was prosecuted in? And it would just be icing on the cake if we somehow got word from a former MrBeast employee that Jimmy for sure knew about these charges and still hired him anyway. It's all true. Duh, it's all true. Of course it's all true. 2 days ago, Dogpack released the second part of the massive expose targeted at MrBeast and the company. It's a pretty intense watch. Go watch it if you haven't. I had an interview with Dogpack shortly after, which will also be on the channel. Go take a look at that. Let's start off with Rosanna Pansino going on Twitter after seeing all this drop and kind of talking about it. She had been updating the Beast games in regard to, the issues with people not getting their medication, the whole, panty raid fiasco. Now, this post that she made yesterday, again, doesn't have any evidence of backing outside of what she's saying in regard to keeping all of the receipts, but she has been pretty accurate with all of the other accusations or allegations that she's made in the past. So I'm going to treat it with a bit more respect given her track record. I have heard rumors from people working close with MrBeast that he is hiring PIs to investigate those speaking up against him. Thank you to the people who reached out to warn me and others. I now have confirmation from several people that individuals are indeed being offered money to fabricate stories about me and others. I have identified some of these people already. They began harassing my friends as of last weekend. I'm keeping all of the receipts. I think that this is focused on the bigger content creators that are choosing to actually cover this. I don't know any of them offhand other than the people kind of in this drama community like a Cheeto or Pegasus, or I guess those would be the two really big ones that come to mind. Upper Echelon as well has been covering it pretty well. Check him out. I hope the focus is on those larger channels and not people like me or Cam Nuggets specifically, who us two are the ones that I know that are low and kind of getting, I guess, a lot of views on our videos. I figure with the small amount of subs that I have that I probably wouldn't be a target. I have had the conversation with my friends and family to let them know that if they receive any information, to let me know. So to some degree, I'm treating it like it's real for my own safety, but for others like Rosanna Pansino, I think this is a much more frightening rumor. Cam Nuggets, they're coming after us. Cam Nuggets, we have to hide the dress to impress Roblox gameplay. We have to hide. And now for the pièce de résistance. I don't speak French. See that guy? See that cool guy in the funny mask there? What a cool little funny mask. I wonder why the other people here aren't wearing cool funny masks. It couldn't possibly be because he's the only registered offender in the video here. That would be silly, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it also be silly if they all nicknamed him the state at which he was prosecuted in? And it would just be icing on the cake if we somehow got word from a former MrBeast employee that Jimmy for sure knew about these charges and still hired him anyway. It's all true. Duh, it's all true. Of course it's all true. All jokes aside, just kidding, none of that was a joke. It's just how I said it. Yeah, no, that's all true. Jake the Viking, a former MrBeast employee, is his brother-in-law and knew about his charges while working there. So after this video released pointing that out, he went onto Twitter to make a post about it. Here's the truth. Yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. Yes, he is a RSO. When he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him and others of SA when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there was no jail time, but he still had to register. His nickname isn't Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware. He's from Delaware. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's been back several times. He was hired before I was and was actually the reason I got hired at MrBeast. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. But again, this incident happened in 2010. Delaware was hired in 2017-18. Delaware was also let go from the company before I was. Delaware was supposed to be a behind-the-scenes manager, but in a couple videos, he was asked to partake because we needed people. He was reluctant, especially in the straitjacket video because of his charges, and that's why he wore the mask. Delaware charges are set to be dropped this fall. Delaware has been nothing but a good person, an amazing husband to my sister, and the best father to my two nieces that I could ever ask for. They want no part in this and want to just live their lives away from the limelight. I understand why anyone would be upset and frustrated over these allegations, and I don't blame them. Hurting kids in any way is completely unacceptable, but in the case of Delaware, I firmly believe he did nothing wrong and look forward to the day these charges are dropped. Thank you. So here's his record, and as you can see, it's talking about the intercourse with victim, between 1 and 11 years old, which falls in line with the story that was told. And we go back and look at the post here. It says that the 16-year-old girl was accused him of SA when she was 11, and Delaware took a plea deal. Now, I know about situations where people end up taking the plea deal because it ends up being better than if they plead not guilty. And, even if they are not guilty, but they're found guilty, it's a worse situation for them to be in. Absolutely. Because we don't have any of that evidence, and usually we're running on the line of of innocent until proven guilty, and he has a registered record with it on file until those charges are dropped and we have a reason as to why they're dropped. This is what happened. He was 16 years old and she was 11. So perfect, that's out of the way. They called him Delaware because he was from Delaware. Why just him? Why wasn't anybody else called where they were from? That's a peculiar reason just to have for the one guy who happens to be registered and got prosecuted in the state he's from. That's a little interesting. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't understand why they would just nickname him the state and we don't know any other people that are named like that in the company. That's just, it's very peculiar. The part that gets to me most and what looks like it gets to others most, not the fact that, you know, he did these things, which is reprehensible, but as far as everyone's concerned, including Jimmy and his mother, who were both informed, as we see right here, he sat down with Jimmy and Sue and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. They knew what he did and they hired him to work on essentially like a kids entertainment show, a show mainly with an audience of children. From what I understand, he was building sets and stuff, okay? I can't speak to the fact that, you know, they made children more vulnerable by him working on sets. But what I can say is, as a rule of thumb, if a bank is gonna advertise itself and use somebody for its commercials, they probably aren't going to use, I don't know, a prosecuted bank robber. So maybe, just throwing this out here, just casting my line, even if you're short on people, having a RSO show up in your show, let alone build the set of your show, maybe that would not be a good idea if your audience is children. If you weren't comfortable showing his face enough that he got a mask, maybe. Just throwing it out there. It was a horrible idea, and morally, ethically, it is at best very questionable. Charges could be dropped like he's saying. It could have all been hullabaloo, but he did get prosecuted, and as it stood, that is what he was when they hired him on. And secondly, Jake has been very vocal about how bad what Chris Tyson was doing, how bad it was. I think the saying's like, don't cast stones in a glass house, something like that. It's strange because a lot of people have been responding to his post and he's had a pretty terrible, you know, reply ready. So for instance, here he's responding to Tom's post, Jake the Viking constantly tweeting about how MrBeast knew about Chris Tyson being a creep, only for it to come out his own brother-in-law who worked for MrBeast is a literal S offender, which Jake knew is so funny. Jake said, so just because I know someone who did something bad and was convicted means I can't call out others for doing bad? That's a wild take, Tom. You know what's also wild? That you freely call out what Chris Tyson did, but as far as the law recognizes it, your brother-in-law who was prosecuted and worked for MrBeast, you don't mention it ever. That's a little bit peculiar, isn't it, Jake? It's not a wild take at all. You're a hypocrite who omitted the fact about his brother being a convicted predator to your audience while you stood on your high horse. Keep coping about it though. Jimmy knew. No accountability, none. The silence is deafening. It just keeps getting worse. Here's the truth. No one coping, buddy. Nothing was omitted, but hey man, keep tweeting out your was for views. Keep that same energy you had for Chris. Do you agree that your brother-in-law is disgusting as a bad person? Yes or no? Why? He was convicted. Chris is still clean. I'm defending myself against the mob saying that I'm wrong for not dragging him into this when he didn't do anything in this situation at all. You know, you wouldn't have brought him into this situation at all if you had just, you know, been transparent about it earlier, or I don't know, maybe Jimmy and his mother shouldn't have hired a convicted predator, but pff, what do I know, dude? I don't own a company. Actually, wait, no, I do actually own a company as of today. And yep, nope, still wouldn't hire, you know, a predator if I'm making entertainment for children. Crazy. And now my favorite part of this entire thing, my Quanker and Quiglet shoutouts. That is the names you guys picked. I picked them. I can't hide behind that. Today we're gonna be doing it in a stupid voice. Shout out to Case Blue, Lego Golden Fuiza, Spacebar 2 Wild, Fame, LDG, Fuida Net, Noah Brown, Naomi Jimenez, Sundasfield, Frosty, Tommy C's Cat, Eric Hatful, Captain Spud, Orange Cat Pianist, Imp 40, PB with K, Bib Jim, Alex, The Sandog, Wayne DeWance, Yesimo, Let's Talk, Basically Blix, Yo Cool Dude, Cooking with Silence, Logan, Kate Monster, Kawaii-chan GD, Quintios Butter, what's up, butter? Duck Astway, Mr. Wu, Owen Manane, Jackson Dutton, Nost Abbey, Sile Sneakle, For All Yon Kind, as me, smiley face, Oggies JK, Full Ife, Ionut, Titanium Sid, Kate's mom, Bosu, and Wavenweo 755, or as we all know her, My model. Members, let me know what the next voice you want is. I'll offer you Gilbert Gottfried, Mickey Mouse, or Pitbull. Those are your 3 choices. Okay, see ya. Bye.